Okay, just want to make a real quick video here. We have the next project. I know I just got done messing around with the artillery, but here we are with the 1917A1. I've been talking about this and thinking about this for about 4 or 5 years now. It became an idea once I got these little parking lot lamppost extension arms, like I mentioned in the 1919 videos. So I can make the Browning receivers the same size with this setup. Also, related note, I also just got some different size receiver or parking lot extension arms that I may be able to use for larger things like an MG08 or even a 50 cal. My personal belief on a 50 cal is I don't want to make anything that large because there's nothing that I can. 6mm BB just doesn't do it justice to what they can do. This is a rifle caliber, machine gun. So this makes a little more sense to do something like this, the 1919, the 1917, or anything else that was like a standard issue cartridge. So just going to run you guys through a couple of the things I got going on here. Lots of brackets, lots of screws. It's a labor of love. I probably pissed off my neighbor with the angle grinder the other day, but I do like this. I'm a fan of that. It is a, it's basically an old TV bracket that I just chopped off. So it's got two positions basically right there. The real one has a slider, of course. I don't, we're not fancy here. But it has, these act as stoppers so that it doesn't just flop around. This is just set tight enough, that right now, that it'll, stay up when you need it, and it'll go down and stay down when you don't. I still need to get a 3/16 nut for that, but we're working on it. These will also act, I'll straighten them out a little bit more, but they'll act as like an iron sight so you can look through to the front sight, which is pretty basic, pretty simple. The botter jacket itself is, I believe, 4-inch EMT. It was in the dumpster at work, so I grabbed it. This is actually, just got done with this part of it. This is an A2 grip from your AR pattern rifle. It's got a long 3/8 bolt going through it. Just, that's all it is. I can pick the whole thing up from here. I don't like doing that because I need to take care of it, but it works. Now, as you'll notice, I'm sure the gun is, there's nothing inside of it right now. So I'm working on that. I don't know if it's going to be my tax return money, anything I get for Christmas maybe. I can, buy, trade, sell, whatever. But I will try to buy something to go inside of there. Like I've said before, I don't really trust myself to create something from scratch because that would just take a prohibitive amount of time. So, like many of my stuff, I have the 1/2-inch mounting points here for a 1/2-inch bolt to slide through. I've already thrown this on my artillery carriage without the cannon on it, and it feels pretty cool. It does its job, but the front end is obviously incredibly heavy right now. So, still waiting on that, the good chunk of weight in here. I hope that it sorts itself out afterwards. So, this, I'm not too proud of the hinging. Right now it's just toggle bolts. Here's this barrel bolt that keeps everything centered. The toggle bolts aren't, the toggle bolt toggles are actually what I'm using as hinges right now, just because I didn't want to get held up by not having any hinges, which is something I'm mad about myself, but it works pretty well. There you can see it's 1.25 inch past, entryway. I'm going to be trimming those screws down whenever I get a chance, and of course at the moment that goes off to the side, so I put this little bracket on here just to keep it in place so we can make it more smooth. So that's about where we're at right now with it. I'd like to find like a sheet of metal to cover this up and maybe cover that up, but it's not super duper high priority, because once you paint it and you're a good distance away from it, it's going to look pretty close to the real thing. Also, another thing I'd like to do is with the, just like with the 1919, I have a slot here for the charging handle. I drilled into the back edge of the dust cover on the AK instead of the front edge, like where your handle is. It was on the back. Probably gonna, and as much as I hate to do it to a virgin gun, probably do the same thing, chop it off and tap another hole back here. Now the one that I want to get is actually an electric blowback, so that's gonna be mighty cool in my opinion. So Yeah, and that's about all I wanted to say about the construction of it. As far as the actual utilization, oh, I did mention there's no hole in the front yet. We're going to see how that plays out. I don't quite have a plan for that yet. It might just be a hole that I drill. It might be a pipe to try to guide the BBs through. Because when I did this last time with the wooden receiver and a plastic water jacket, the BBs would just catch on the front cap and they would bounce all over inside the water jacket because the gun wasn't quite perfectly made. Like I've mentioned before, a lot of these guns, the idea came from actually, I did see another YouTuber do it many years ago. He did a decent job, but it wasn't quite up to what I wanted. But the idea was to, when we were hosting games, have something that the players can get behind and just, mess around with. So, and not have something that's like cost prohibitive. Like, you could do the same thing if you had like $3,000. You could go get two 1919s from EMG or wherever you please, but I don't have that kind of money. With the field that we were working with, they weren't really working with us as far as finances go, so we were basically stuck to our own devices and whatever we could build ourselves, and our own free time with our own money. So that's kind of where the idea came from, to just throw like an average gun into a shell and make it work as like a machine gun. So the upside to these, you may be asking yourself, well, why would you put something inside of here, make it heavier and make it bulkier, and basically handicap yourself? Well, there's 2 or 3 main reasons why you would want to do something like this. Is because, well, one, most fields rifles are only semi. With auto, this is a very cheap, at least for me, way to get an automatic that at least looks cool and I can do cool stuff with it. Basically, another reason would be capacity. You can mount a lot more stuff on here. We're still experimenting with the bottomless feed system, which a lot of people have already done. As I've previously mentioned, I can't quite get it to work right, but I just need to put some more time, effort, and money into it. So that's on me. And the other thing is going to be sustained, like, well, I guess it goes hand in hand, but sustained fire. Accuracy by volume, as they say, is very important for keeping heads down. So that's why you would go with this over something else, because in the like modern times, we don't really have static emplacements anymore, at least not unless they're armored, so, or protected in some way. It's very much more of an advantage to have something that's flexible, that's dynamic. But another reason I'm doing this is to honor my uncle who served on Saipan, but I will save that story for another day. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate you guys subscribing. It is it's giving me hope. I see the numbers going up slowly every time I post a video, and it's pretty cool. So maybe eventually we'll get to a point where I can monetize, and that'll fund more projects for this, and you guys get to see more cool stuff. So, but right now I'm working with what I got. So again, thanks. I'll see you guys next time.